Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Dolan, Out of the Darkness Walk Senior Director, and my honor bead colors are purple, teal, and blue. I just wanted to say thank you all so much for taking part in our Out of the Darkness campus walks and day of action, and for stepping up and speaking out about mental health. Every time you share your story, whether through text, photos, videos, or in real life, you're raising awareness and creating space for hope and healing. You're letting everyone around you know that it's okay not to be okay, that it's okay to be vulnerable and share how you're really doing, and that it's okay to seek help. So thank you for choosing AFSP and the Out of the Darkness campus walks, and thank you for fundraising and helping to bring education and prevention programs to campuses across the country, and thank you for being here. Please keep sharing and looking out for one another. You are appreciated. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Meredith Henning, and I am the Senior Manager of the Out of the Darkness Walks for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I just wanted to say a huge thank you for being here today, for joining in on your local campus walk, as well as being part of the National Campus Day of Action. You are collectively joining thousands of people across the country today who are raising their voices, spreading hope, spreading awareness, and raising funds to prevent suicide and to change the culture around mental health. That is all because of you. So thank you. I hope that you will also go to afsp.org/day of action, where you can find Instagram story graphics that you can use throughout the day to share what you are doing for your actions, as well as using the hashtag Hope Walks Here. There is also a Spotify playlist that you can listen to as you are taking action, and it also contains songs that have been submitted by fellow walkers. So I suggest you use that as well. In addition to that, there are resources, there are other activities that are going on today. One of them is actually an Instagram live dance with our friends at Forward Space. So I hope you will join in on that as well. Now, my honor bead colors are green, teal, purple, and blue. And as you see, I'm wearing them here. And I suggest that you also get creative with how you share your honor colors and how you are connected to the cause as you share pictures on social all day, because this is one of the ways that we connect with each other. If you are unsure as to what your honor bead color is, you can go to your local walk page, or you can go to the Day of Action page. Once again, I hope all day you will be using the hashtag Hope Walks Here, because your post will also show up on the Day of Action page. And I once again want to thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this year's campus walks. It means so much to all of us here at AFSP, and you truly are saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide. And now I want to share with you a video that was created by an amazing student. Her name is Eleanor Fernandez, and she's a student at Clemson University, as well as a Clemson University walk chair. And I want to share this video with you because I hope it does for you what it did for me. It brings hope. It brings insight into the struggles of someone who is dealing with a mental health condition. And I also hope that if you are struggling, or if you know someone who is struggling, that it will give you hope to know that there is support out there and that you can reach out and that you know that you are not alone.
I'm the kind of person who makes plans. I like to plan out my life. When the mental illness came, I went into a downward spiral. At my lowest point, I didn't have a plan. Well, I did have a plan, but it was an unrealistic, perfectionistic plan, and mental illness came in and totally wrecked that plan. I hated myself for not achieving the unrealistic standards I set for myself. I spent a lot of time in bed, a lot of time staring at the ceiling fan. The fear of being a disappointment dominated my life. I no longer found happiness in the things that used to bring me joy. Sometimes I'd feel this overwhelming sadness. My mind's defense to that was to simply shut down. I felt hopeless, desperate, trapped. So, the new plan was to end my life. If I died, I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. To my emotionally numb brain, it was the best plan possible. The plan wasn't about death, it was about finding an end to those negative emotions. That plan resulted in being sent to the psychiatric ward for a week. The psych ward was an eye-opening experience. After that, I started therapy, then medication. I re-evaluated my relationships. Slowly but surely, I got better. Every day I take my meds, 3 little pills for my brain's decreased production of dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. As the joke goes, if you can't make your own neurotransmitters, store-bought is fine. I still go to therapy, even though I feel good about my life. I'm surrounded by supportive friends who are open about their mental health, and a partner who has loved me through it all. We support each other through the highs and the lows. I remember the day that I got back from the psychiatrist and my diagnosis status was finally full of remission. I felt so proud of myself for making it this far. There wasn't one singular day where I got better. It happened gradually, over time. Recovery is not something that happened to me. It is a state of being I work towards every single day. I am reminded of an excerpt from the book Lost in the Cosmos by Walker Percy, where the narrator contemplates the nature of life and living in this messed up world. You can elect suicide, but you decide not to. What happens? Why not live instead of dying? Why not do whatever you want? You could die, but instead you choose to do whatever you want. Since you have the option of being dead, you have nothing to lose by being alive. Now I make plans that I look forward to. I make plans for what to do when I'm having a bad day, and plans to enjoy the life I didn't expect to still be living. And sometimes I even try to live spontaneously, without a plan. Suicide has affected so many lives, and here at the Out of the Darkness Walk, we have a space to actually talk about it. You may have a loved one or even yourself who has been affected by suicide. My plan could have ended with my life, but it didn't. Together, we can change our plans for the better.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Mullis, and I'm going to be talking today about managing your mental health as a student, whether that's a high school student or college student. I'm really grateful to be able to participate in this walk, even though it's virtually, and I'm sure all of you guys are too. And I really hope that it is encouraging that there are so many students that are watching this, whether it's live or being recorded, that there's so many people that are joining us in the fight against suicide. And I really hope that you're able to learn some resources and some facts about depression and suicide to bring back to your campuses. So first, I really want to highlight the fact of why student mental health is so important and like how your role as a student can be really helpful within your own communities. For college students and high school students, it's a really big time of like figuring out your identity. It could be a lot of friendship issues, relationship issues, family issues, maybe adjusting to ending high school, maybe moving away, coming to college. I know a lot of times in society, we romanticize that time in life. There's movies about it, there's TV shows about it, but for a lot of people, it can be really not like the movies and really not kind of this picture perfect that society is trying to picture it in. So I really want to normalize, like there are so many changes that you all are experiencing around you, obviously even more so in the light of the pandemic. But it's really important to normalize, like you don't have to be okay all of the time. You don't have to know how to do everything because you're not supposed to. This is supposed to be a time that you guys are figuring things out. And we really want to encourage you all, but also for y'all to encourage within your community the normalization of talking about mental health and asking for help. Depression is extremely prevalent within high school students and college students. Unfortunately, it's the second leading cause of death for suicide. For college students, is suicide. So it's really important that we talk about this because we really can prevent this. And we can do that by trying to know and familiarize ourselves with maybe some of the warning signs. Recognizing the warning signs. This is a great image from AFSP if anyone is interested in using it. I like how it is able to break it down into the talk or maybe some of the speech that somebody who may be feeling suicidal might be expressing. There's always going to be the more obvious one of I'm feeling suicidal or I'm thinking about killing myself. But a lot of times it's not as direct as that. So we want you to be able to notice the ones that maybe aren't as direct. So for example, there might be someone in your life or within your community that is like, I really feel like I'm being a burden right now. Like nobody would care if I wasn't here, or if after a significant life event, I don't know how I see my life continuing. I don't know how I'm going to live without this person. Maybe if it's after a relationship, I'm feeling trapped. Like I feel so overwhelmed. I really can't see a way out of this. Those are some examples that we want you guys to be aware of. Those do not, and I do want to say all of these do not mean that somebody's feeling suicidal, but it is definitely indicative that something is going on and it might be worth checking in with that person. So then we have mood. So this can be just kind of like how their emotions are and mood is. If somebody who is super interested in a lot of things, super involved, is showing loss of interest, if they're just kind of really showing a lot of apathy, if they're showing signs of being depressed, and this kind of will blur into behavior, but if they're sleeping a lot or too little, I know for my college students and probably high school students, you're probably like, what is sleep? I'm trying to do so many things. When we say like issues with sleep, it's like significant. If somebody is sleeping all day or sleeping 6 to 8 hours a day or not sleeping at all, right? Like we're really going to be looking and be more aware of if it's out of the norm for that person. If they're being irritable, if they're experiencing anxiety or feeling overwhelmed. And again, other signs of depression can be like change in their eating habits, change in just kind of, if they may be expressing hopelessness and worthlessness. They might feel really tired all of the time. They might not have the same energy levels that they did before. So behavior, increased alcohol or drugs. I know that is part of a lot of y'all's communities, drugs and alcohol. But if you see somebody really using them a lot or in ways that they weren't doing before, that could be a sign that they're really struggling. Isolating from friends and family, like I kind of going back into mood. If somebody was always showing up and now they're really retreating, not answering any phone numbers or any text messages, really might be important to check in on that person, because again, all of these can be signs that they may be feeling suicidal. If they're giving away possessions, if they are looking for ways to kill themselves. So if you hear of a friend trying to access some sort of means to hurt or to kill themselves, that is definitely, a warning sign, the same as giving away possessions. If they're acting super impulsively, doing things that you're like, this is totally out of the norm for them, all of these can be warning signs. So again, we just want to give you a brief overview, so hopefully you're able to learn these a little bit more and be able to recognize them within your communities. So now I want to transition kind of briefly into managing your mental health. I said being a student can be so difficult because you're managing your academic life, you're managing your personal life. If you're in high school, you're applying for colleges, or if you're not applying for colleges, trying to figure out what you're going to do after high school, regardless of what you do, can be really stressful and overwhelming. And I also like to normalize, even though there's positive things about that, you're like, no, like I enjoy applying to all these schools. I'm hopeful. Still having all of these changes and having all of these new things on your plate, even though they're like more positive things, it can still lead to feeling really overwhelmed. So I just want to remind you that good change can still be change and overwhelming. So I like the way that AFSP really is able to group the term self-care into these categories. I think self-care, as we all know, can kind of get romanticized on social media lately because the self-care is the literal act of taking care of yourself. It is meant, if you look into the soul, the parts of self-care, there's obviously the time for fun self-care, like reading a good book or doing hobbies or like really doing things that, again, are for you and like really are able to replenish your soul. But self-care is also managing your personal hygiene. When you're depressed and stressed, we don't love to talk about that as a society, but for a lot of people, hygiene can be really, really difficult to manage. It doesn't even have to be exercise under body. It could literally just be taking a walk, doing yoga, stretching, drinking water, making sure that you're doing your laundry. Like all of those things, sorry, I lost my train of thought, are important to be mindful of when you're taking care of yourself. Under mind, having a daily routine can be, and obviously there's a lot of research that shows it can be really helpful, especially during the times that we are in. I know a lot of y'all's routines is probably going to be looking a little bit different. Trying to create that structure however you guys want to can be really helpful. Trying to take breaks. I know you guys are probably like always on the go, always trying to do everything, which is great. And I know sometimes when we talk about self-care, it can get counterproductive of like, well, I have a million things to do. Like I have no time for self-care. But when you look at self-care holistically in this way, and again, I'm not going to read you guys all of these. I'm going to be hopeful that you're able to read them. I want you to reflect on these of like, what can I be doing? Because when you do all of these, you're able to fit in more self-care than you actually realize. And I like to really challenge that mind frame of like, well, I'm too busy for self-care. You actually need self-care to be able, like, meaning you need to take care of yourself to be a more productive person. So it's not being counterproductive. It's almost like an oil change on a car. Like, yeah, like your car's like being able to be fine without an oil change, but after a year, it's going to break down. We are really similar. We do need a checkup. We do need to make sure that everything around us is working. So trying to make a self-care plan can be really helpful and really beneficial to be able to make you be healthier and be more productive in the long run. Also want to share some helpful phone applications. Headspace and Calm are really great for practicing mindfulness. 3 Good Things is great for practicing gratitude. It will make you ask like 3 good things that you're able to find during the day. Mood Path is great in a way to obviously be able to track your mood. It's pretty straightforward, but you'll be able to learn insights of just kind of like, why am I feeling super angry on Mondays? Like there might be sort of a trend there, and really being more in tune with your emotions can be helpful when you're managing a lot of stress. And also on Spotify, there are so many anxiety playlists, anxiety relief podcasts. There's a lot on there if you type in anxiety and depression. So hopefully some of those phone applications are useful for you. And then lastly, I like to always remind y'all, like when it's time to seek counseling. We talk about mental health so much, but we're like, but when do we actually come? You don't have to come for any of these reasons specifically, but these are great reasons if you don't even know where to start. But I want to remind you guys, you do not need to have an excess of mental health issues to go to counseling. Significant life changes is a huge reason why people go to counseling. And you guys are all, even, if you're about to graduate from high school, if you're in college, like those are significant life changes, and that's all that you need to go to counseling. There is not a barometer of like what you need to have had happen to you to go to counseling. And I really encourage you guys to look into campus resources on your campus or within your high school. And lastly, I just want to thank everybody for participating today. I'm so hopeful that we are going to have a great year trying to fight suicide within the state of Alabama, and that is very much because of all of you. So I really hope that you guys are able to take something away from this, and I hope that you're able to bring these into your communities.
Losing someone to suicide or struggling with a mental illness can feel like no one understands what you're going through. Unlike other illnesses, it is difficult to look at someone and know their connection. The Out of the Darkness events are journeys of remembrance that unite a community, a time to acknowledge the ways in which suicide and mental illness have affected our lives and our loved ones. We all wear honor beads. They come in many colors, representing the diversity of our community's connections to this cause and help us identifying others who understand our experience. Here are some of the extraordinary people who are a part of our community.
My name is Amber, and I wear orange beads to symbolize the loss of a sibling. 15 years ago, I lost my younger brother, Chad, to suicide. He loved to play musical instruments, and he was a great friend to others. I walk in the hope that no other family has to lose someone to suicide.
My name is Katrina Weathers, and I'm walking for my son, Justin Weathers. Justin passed on August 3rd, 2019. He was a bright kid. It was his senior year in high school. I walk to try to help other family not to walk the journey that I currently walk. I wear the white bead in honor of my son, Justin.
Hey, I'm Nicole, and I'm wearing the teal beads for my family members, my friends, and my clients as a mental health counselor that struggle with suicide. I do this walk every year to remind them that they're not alone and to help to fight suicide.
Hi, I'm Misha, and I wear the purple bead to honor the memory of my best friend Alex Conley, who died by suicide in May of 2013. I walk as a symbol of hope for those who struggle with mental health, to let them know that they are not alone and that there are people who love them.
Hi, my name is Thea, and I wear the white bead for my son Matthew and the red beads for my husband John. I also wear the blue beads to support the cause for this wonderful foundation and for all of those who have lost loved ones, and to show that there is hope.
My name is Ryan Sims, and I wear the gold bead for my mom. I lost her in 2009 to suicide. I walk for all the kids who have lost a parent, and I want you to know you are not alone.
Today I wear a green and purple bead. The purple bead signifying that I lost my cousin to suicide, and the green for my personal struggle. I tried taking my life 3 times, and the first time when I was 9 years old. From being bullied, sexually abused, in toxic relationship, I held this on for a long time, battled with my mind. But finally, I reversed those negative thoughts and changed them to something positive. And I found the AFSP. It gives me life to help others. I love sharing my stories to let other people know that they're not alone. And together we can do this. So I love sharing my story to shine light for others, and that's why I walk.
The purple beads represent the loss of a relative or a friend. In 2016, I lost my best friend Noelle to suicide. Noelle was a kind and loving person, and she made friends everywhere she went. I'm here today in hopes that no one else has to ever know the pain of losing a friend or relative to suicide.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Connolly, and I wear the white beads that signify loss of a child. My daughter Alexandra died by suicide in May of 2013. They told me to talk about what she was or what she did, and she was so many things. She was a terrific daughter. She was a supportive sister. She was a wonderful friend. She was a terrific, just amazing painter. She was great at Scrabble. She was funny. She was smart. She was a big ball of red curly hair. She was a giant smile. She was everything. And now she's only one thing. She's missed. So I walk to try and help so that other parents won't have to miss their children.
I fought suicide for everyone to know that they can speak up and that we care. If you're struggling, let someone know. We are there for you. We can give you resources.
As a Marine Corps veteran, I wear silver beads to support first responders and military who have been lost to suicide. I wear beads to support the 22 veterans a day that we lose to suicide. I lost a fellow Marine in 2019 to suicide, and I personally have struggled since 2015 with overcoming those overwhelming thoughts. There is hope. You are not alone, and together we can come out of the darkness.
Those who touch our lives stay in our hearts forever. In lieu of the Remembrance Walk, an Out of the Darkness digital memory quilt was created to remember and honor those lost to suicide. The images on the quilt were submitted by statewide participants of our Out of the Darkness experience. From the words of an unknown author, they say there is a reason. They say that time will heal. But neither time nor reason will change the way I feel. For no one knows the heartache that lies behind my smile. No one knows how many times I have broken down and cried. I want to tell you something, so there won't be any doubt. You're so wonderful to think of, but so hard to be without.
As you release this butterfly in honor of me, know that I'm with you and will always be. Hold a hand, say a prayer, close your eyes and see me there. Although you may feel a bit torn apart, please know that I'll be forever in your heart. Now fly away, butterfly, as high as you can go. I'm right there with you, more than you know.
Sky whispering like heaven, dreams shouting from the past, chains fading into thought like wings on butterflies at last. Gold fables with red letters, true once upon a time. Found freedom in the waters, peace, freedom of my mind. Thoughts lost in the flowers.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Hall, Area Director for the Alabama chapter of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Thank you for joining us today for the Alabama chapter Out of the Darkness virtual campus walk and for being a voice for suicide prevention. For 33 years, AFSP has led the fight against suicide. And although we cannot gather in person this year, your involvement sends a message that mental health is as real as physical health and that reaching out for help is the strong thing to do. Our work is needed now more than ever. And like our work, the Out of the Darkness walk is not a result of one day. It's an ongoing effort to engage and connect with those who need us most. We are a strong and resilient community, united in our effort to fight suicide, raise awareness, educate our communities, support those who have lost loved ones, and support those with lived experience. Together, we are creating a culture that's smart about mental health. Everyone has a role in preventing suicide, and by working together to improve the health and well-being of Alabamians, we are connecting people to resources and programs and removing barriers that stand in the way of people finding hope and healing. As we conclude our program, I want to thank our fundraisers, donors, sponsors, and you for your support. Together, we are saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide. Lastly, I want to encourage you on this day of action to focus on your mental and physical health by participating in a wellness activity. Consider taking a brisk walk or a long bike ride, participating in a yoga class, writing down positive thoughts, drawing a tranquil scene, or cooking a special meal. Whatever it is that brings you joy, your mental health is important, and wherever you are, take this time for your self-care. Also, our fundraising efforts continue through June 30th. Please remember to take pictures as you take action today and tag us on Facebook at AFSP Alabama and on Instagram and Twitter at AFSP_AL. Include your personal fundraising page and the hashtag HopeWalksHere. Thank you.